Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bible Tidbits YouTube channel. Today we have another installment in my journey to learning biblical Hebrew, going from nothing, which is where we started in episode 1, to hopefully being fluent, confident in the language. And so we have been grinding away, and it has been pretty tough lately for me. I'm not gonna lie. I've been struggling, been having to really dedicate and have some solid time of study. The big issue I've been having lately is vocab is stacking up. I mean, my vocab pile should have grabbed, it's like that thick of note cards. And it's just getting to be a lot to keep up with. So I'm seeing words and I'm like, I recognize this word, but I just cannot remember. And so I'm really having to review my vocab a lot right now. This is getting just a little bit more difficult for me, and the fact we've been getting to some paradigms and shifts, and so how the words change based upon what they're intending to mean. So like third person plural versus first person singular, just looks subtly different. And so recognizing the word and having those parts on it has been a little bit tough for me. I did that not too difficult in Greek, but Hebrew's just been a little bit more tough. And I think it's because I'm struggling slightly more with the vocab, because there just seems to be a lot more vocab for me. And I know some of the vocab words too are kind of redundant. So I will have the vocab word for the word as, third person masculine singular, but I also have the second person masculine plural version as a vocab word. And so trying to navigate that has been difficult. Lately, what I've been in, I finished construct chains. And so I'm just going to try to talk through this and explain it the best I can, because I think that will help me learn, and then just kind of share what I'm learning. So a construct chain is basically two nouns together. And when you put these two nouns together, kind of how they connect is basically what a construct chain is. So you have kol isha, kol isha. It's trying to read it over here in my textbook, which is a voice of a woman. So kol is voice, isha is woman. So a voice of a woman, kol isha. But then one thing, if you add the article, which is ha, hey with a kametz underneath it, you got kol ha-ish is the voice of the man. So ish is man, so ha-ish is the man. But since it's a construct chain, even though the ha is not in front of kol, it is still the article goes with it. So the voice of the man, or the man's voice, as we could translate that. So just the article goes with the second word in the construct chain, if that makes sense. So kol ha'ish is the voice of the man, or the man's voice. You got kol navi is a voice of a prophet, but you got kol hanavi is the voice of the prophet, or the prophet's voice. And so seeing that makes the language make a lot more sense to me whenever I'm coming upon these construct chains and those nouns together and how they relate. So like you got kol Dawid is the voice of David, and that is interesting because it does not have the article there. But the reasoning for that is David is a proper noun. So the proper nouns always kind of have the article assumed, I guess, in a way there. Um, so like Ruah Shamuel, the spirit of Samuel, since it's Shamuel, Samuel, and Ruah is spirit, even though the ha, the article's not there, we understand it because it's a proper noun. But then you got like I I I can't say that. The gutturals. I still struggle getting the gutturals out. So Evid HaMelech. So Evid is not the greatest pronunciation. I'll just make that clear. But Evid HaMelech is the servant of the king. So we have the Ha there. HaMelech is the king. So Evid HaMelech, the servant of the king, even though the Ha is not with the Evid. So if that makes sense, I'm trying to understand construct chains and how they're working with the article. That has helped me greatly. and I've that's something I kind of latched onto quick, which is exciting. I gravitate towards those things that latch onto my mind quick because they're confidence boosters for me. Um, we learned absolute forms versus construct forms. So the construct form is a very kind of stripped down, slightly different form, but that's how it will appear with all these additions to them. Some other stuff that went a little deeper. And then chapter 13, kind of the latest thing I've done. So I've done a little bit more than this since the last update, but chapter 13 is the most recent I've done. So that was 12. 13 was about prepositions. And I've already learned some prepositions, and this is just trying to get my knowledge of them a little deeper. So the three major prepositions are b, l, k. Kind of simple, right? B, l, k. But these three prepositions never occur on their own. So they will be attached to a word. So we got shade or sade. Sade with a b is basade, and that is in a field. So sade is field, ba is in by or with. So basade is in the field or in a field. Then we got, let's go la. So we got yeled. Yeled is the boy. And so we got la. So it'll be la yeled is two or four, the boy. Context will kind of determine the details of that. And then ka, Melik, which we talked about a while ago, is king. Melik, king. So we have Kamelik. Kamelik is like a king because ka is like. So ba in by with, la two or four, ka as or like. So seeing how those attach there, that's just the simplest form. You just put them in front and it changes the word they are with. But there are some other ways that they can do it. And this is something that I was confused on at the beginning. And now that I see this, it just makes so much sense. And it really was like the confusion was, what is that? I don't know what to do with this. And that's a makef is what's called makef. And what I would call that in English is a hyphen. So look, reading my Hebrew Bible, I have a lot of hyphenated words. And I'm like, what's the hyphen here for? Basically, it's connecting some prepositions here. So al is on, upon, or concerning. Al is kind of that preposition. So whenever we look upon, or whenever we look at this word, we got al makef, which is hyphen. So al hyphen ha hekal, ha hekal. So hekal is temple, ha hekal is the temple, and then we have al with a hyphen next to it. So that all together is upon the temple, upon the temple. So just the hyphen is just a way of connecting the preposition here where it's not just directly attached. And from my just kind of general knowledge, I don't know if this is a definite rule, but I have not seen any of the ba, la, or ka with the hyphen. It's always the slightly longer. So the al is ayin with and then lamed, ayin lamed, the accent marks, of course. So it's kind of a two-letter preposition. So two-letter prepositions seem to tend to have the hyphen with them. That's how they connect the hyphen, the makef. I should use the Hebrew terminology so I get it right. So they have the makef there to connect them to the word. And so I've been seeing these. I've actually known some of these prepositions, and I've known the words that they have the makef to, and I'm like, why? What's that doing? It's basically that's how they connect to it. Lots of other little things, lots of little rules. Some of them I'm still studying because I don't fully grasp. There is something here where some specific ones, like there's a preposition men, which means from, but it can mean than in a comparative sense. And just seeing when it means that and how it means that a lot of times is contextual, but there's some rules around it and trying to just wrap my head around this. So like min melik or min plus the melik is memelik. So it's one that changes based upon the word it attaches to, where most of them don't change, but they'll have the makef or they're just right there in front of it. But some of these like men here, do change based upon the word they're attached to. So I'm trying to learn all of those rules there. And then Bane is another one that changes some and has some specific rules to it. So trying to wrap my mind around those still, it's still kind of fuzzy. I kind of get the basics, but I'm working on it. But some of those clarifiers with the prepositions have been helpful. Understand the construct chains and understanding prepositions and construct chains more has greatly helped my translating. My translating's still struggling. Um, I took an exam yesterday, and it's an exam. You take it, you have to have a proctor. You submit the exam, and then you can self grade it, submit it. And then they're going to go through and still double check everything. But then you can immediately see, hey, what did I do right? What did I do wrong? So I was grading my exam, and I just crushed it. So we've been doing the paradigms. I didn't talk much about those. I finished out the some paradigms, and so I have like 3 down and now. So I finished, did the paradigms, knocked them out. Okay, got them. I missed, I think, one on the paradigm because I missed one little mark. So minus 1 point in the whatever 50 points of paradigms there were. So knocked that out of the park. Did great on the parsing. Vocab was, I struggled with some words because I hadn't seen them in a while, but most of the vocab words were our more recent words. So I did pretty good in vocab. And then the translating, and oh my goodness, I struggled with that. So I was getting all these rules and stuff, but putting them into practice was a struggle for me. So still trying to map that out in my mind of how to better translate these things. And the construct change and the prepositions have really kind of helped me kind of grasp where we're going. I need to get a better understanding of the paradigms. I have the paradigms memorized. I do not have the meanings memorized. I actually had one that was a direct pull from the paradigm. I mean, the same word. So we use a specific word in the paradigm, and then they add the stuff to it. So you kind of have a word to ground yourself in. It was literally the word from the paradigm that I wrote down that I got perfect, and I could not remember what the word meant, and I didn't know what it meant in that part of the paradigm, and I had to sit and think about it. Eventually, I think I did end up getting that right, but I was like, oh my goodness. So I do need to go back and get that and try to grasp that more. But I'm seeing those things. I'm seeing those gaps. And I encourage you, if you're learning or doing anything like this, look for those gaps. Try to find where you're missing. So like right now, paradigms are doing good. Vocab's actually doing decent. I still need to get the older vocab reviewed well, but seeing the meaning of that. How do I actually put this into practice and translating? Because that's been my biggest problem is I'm getting the information down pretty decent, not great, but pretty decent, but then putting it into practice and translating has been my weak spot. So that's what I'm working on. We've also been doing guided readings. As you know, if you follow this series, I'm trying to memorize Psalm 1. It's actually a project, an optional project for the class to get some bonus points. And I want all the bonus points I can get at this point just to be safe. But there's been guided readings going through Psalm 1, so it's being used for the class. And that's been nice because that's actually the only scripture we're really getting into in the learning the Hebrew, is digging into Psalm 1 and seeing the things in practice. And our vocab usually has a reading vocab section, which is words we probably wouldn't have learned necessarily this early, except for the fact that we're coming up to them in Psalm 1, and so we need to know them. So not only am I memorizing Psalm 1, I'm actually starting to know what it means, and it's not just Hebrew words that don't have any grounding in my mind. So that is nice. So if you have any thoughts or questions, drop them down in the comments about my journey to learning Hebrew. I would love to try to answer them. Maybe they'll get included in the next video. That's what we did last time, was just some questions that were in the comments. I just took the whole time to try to tackle those. It's my journey to learning. I'm getting there. I'm hoping that, by the end of this semester, maybe we can cap off the series and say, hey, I'm decent at it. I know languages are a lifetime endeavor, and that's just the truth of the matter. It's going to be a lifetime endeavor. The same with Greek. I would say I have a proficiency in Greek. I'm still learning a lot of things about Greek. So even though proficiency is there and other things like that are there, it's still something to work on. So I'm just trying to get to proficient, so where I can be dangerous in the Hebrew, and then I know I'm going to continue learning there. So drop comments or questions down below. Love to interact and just see what you have to say and maybe help you out on your journey. So that's all I got for today. I thank you all for joining me, and I hope to see you all next time.